What's going on YouTube? I'm doing a review of the Roxio Game Capture HD Pro. It's what I've been using to record my console gameplay for the past few months. It allows you to use both HDMI or component to capture gameplay footage in up to 1080p. Now in the box you don't get very much at all. You only get the software that you use to capture and edit with, Roxio Video Wave. You get the card itself, and you get the power supply. It does not come with any of the cables you need. It does not come with any HDMI cables or component cables. Now setting up the Roxio is extremely easy. All you had to do is feed your HDMI cable from your console over to your Game Capture.
If you want to use component cables, it works the same way.
You can just feed those into the Roxio. Now this side is the output. This HDMI cable or these component cables feed into your monitor, and this power supply feeds directly into your PC, so you do not need an external power source for this outside of the USB that connects to your PC. So once I've connected my Roxio over to my computer, it'll glow, and I'm going to turn on my Xbox now. Then once the Xbox is on, you just hit the capture button, and then you select your input source from your PC. So right now my input source is the HDMI. Then to start capturing, you just hit here, and then if you see this area, it says capturing, and you're automatically recording.
I edited this video using the software that comes with the Roxio to test its basic capabilities. I just want to mention one thing about the gameplay. Don't use the suppressor with the SWAT 556. It turns the gun into an airsoft gun. You very rarely get any one burst kills with the suppressor attached. The 556 is basically two different guns depending on whether or not you use the suppressor. The Roxio is one of the more common external capture devices, and although it's more entry-level and budget-conscious, it does everything the higher-end capture devices do. Be careful when shopping though, that you look for Game Cap HD Pro, not the regular Roxio Game Capture. Shoppers unaware have been caught off guard and bought the regular non-HD version before. Obviously, this device captures video in full 1080p and is compatible with anything that uses HDMI or component. Outside of consoles, it does have limited PC use. I think in 2013, the direct competitors to the Roxio are the Avermedia Game Capture HD, Hauppague HD PVR2, and the Elgato Game Capture. Out of these, I've only used the Avermedia, which was my first game recorder. I was very satisfied with its quality, but I really needed the capture card that let me use HDMI because I play on a monitor, which the Avermedia didn't allow. Look at the description of this video if you want to see my review of the Avermedia Game Capture. Fortunately, I stumbled onto a deal on Amazon.com that allowed me to get the Roxio for $30 less than the original price of the Avermedia. The Roxio is definitely a lot more flexible than both the Hauppague and the Elgato because it allows both component and HDMI. It's also less expensive. As of right now on Amazon.com, it's $110, $50 less than both the HD PVR2 and the Elgato. A few years ago, almost all commentators used Hauppague PVRs, but PVRs are going out of style. They take up so much more space. You can look at some setup videos with the old Hauppague, and it's astounding how long the cables are. Another one of the major strengths of the Roxio is how compact it is. It fits into your front jean pocket, so if you're traveling, it's not a burden at all to carry it. It also doesn't require any external power sources to stay on. You only need to plug in the USB to your computer. The Avermedia and the Hauppague do not have this distinction as they both need to be plugged into a wall outlet. In terms of technical details, you can record at 15 megabytes per second in 720p or 1080p. There's an H.264 encoder embedded within the Roxio, so you don't need any additional CPU resources, which is great for people running less than stellar computers. The software is compatible with Windows XP, Vista, and 7. The software that comes with the device, Roxio Video Wave, is as basic as it gets. You do have some recording options that play in a preview window, With one click of the mouse, you can also stream to twitch.tv, something the Avermedia wasn't able to do. I'm not much of a streamer, but in talking with people who have streamed with the Roxio, it's very basic and doesn't have as many options as using something like XSplit. The Roxio video capture is not compatible with XSplit Broadcaster for streaming though. I think the file sizes are manageable too. On average, you can expect about 10 gigs of files if you record in 1080p, but your mileage may vary. The video editing software is easy to grasp and learn in one afternoon. This video was edited using VideoWave. All functions that you expect are here. You can add voiceovers, transition effects, video effects, color correction, picture-in-picture, and text overlay. It definitely is slower than Sony Vegas, which is what I usually use, but it gets the job done. A very entry-level PC should handle everything you want to edit, but be warned, I have an Intel i7 3.4GHz CPU and 8 gigs of RAM, and I get freezing and slowdown. If you do want to use the recorded video files with another editing program, you have to render the video files in VideoWave first. The files record in MT2S format and outputs directly as ABCHD, not MP4, so if you want to use Roxio with Sony Vegas, you will only get video, no audio. That's not a problem if you just want to add commentary though. In the Roxio editing software, you can just go to a menu option to instantly upload your video to YouTube or Facebook, but I still prefer browser uploading. There are a lot of render and output formats for VideoWave depending on what you want to do. I usually render my console gameplay at 720p because most console games don't even go higher than native 720p. If you do set your console settings to 1080p in the console settings menu, it's playing the game at upscaled HD, which looks worse in my eye. Call of Duty, for example, runs at about native 650 or so on consoles. When playing through the Roxio, I don't notice any gameplay delay, which is great. In terms of recording quality, I find it fantastic and well suited to my expectations. There isn't much of a difference between using this or the Avermedia. One thing you may notice is a black outline around the edges of the gameplay footage here, and I think I can explain why it's not taking up all of the viewing window. It's not the Roxio's quality fault, it's mine. The first few times I recorded and edited my gameplays did take up the whole view screen, but later on I wanted to watch a movie on my Xbox, so I turned the resolution up to 1080p. Like I mentioned earlier, it upscales the video to full HD because I forgot to turn the settings down for my gameplay. I then rendered the video to use with Sony Vegas, but back to 720p. This may be one of the reasons you see my gameplay in a slightly smaller window. Another possibility is because I upscale my bitrate to 15 megabytes per second, I'm getting some of these windowed appearances. I looked at some problems others were having, and there are consistent problems when others have used max bitrate too. But I have been using max bitrate for a while, so I'm going to dial it down and see if that helps. But again, the reason for the slight windowed appearance of my current gameplay is my fault, not the Roxio's. I did mention previously there isn't much of a quality difference between the Roxio and the more expensive Avermedia, and I find that to be pretty much the case with any capture device, as long as you're recording in HD. It may be possible that the Elgato has a slight advantage in picture quality, but unless you put the two videos side by side, I don't think anyone will be able to tell much of a difference. Very subtle differences in recording quality aren't going to mean the difference between 1,000 views or 10,000 views. Maybe if you are a gaming YouTube commentator with 100,000 subscribers, it will matter to you, but I don't expect it to matter too much to anyone else. For me, when I buy smaller gaming accessories or peripherals, money is usually no object. If I can't find the need to upgrade to what many consider top tier in external capture cards, that's the Elgato Game Capture, then that tells you all you need to know about how confident I am in the Roxio. I'll summarize by giving the Roxio an A- grade. The strong points are its pricing value, its superb recording quality, and how compact of a design it is. Coming bundled with recording and editing software is a huge bonus for those that just want to start out recording gameplay and making commentaries. It's perfect for those who want to jump right in, set it up, and start commentating without worrying too much about technical details. In the beginning of the video, you did see how easy it was to set up. One of the weaker points of the Roxio is that its streaming features are very basic and not compatible with the more commonly used broadcasting applications. Also, the regularly recorded files are not initially compatible with other editing programs like Sony Vegas, but this is a small annoyance that only takes 5 minutes to work around. I would recommend the Roxio to anyone looking to find their first HD external game capture device. It's considered a budget-friendly option, but it goes head-to-head with the best devices on the market in nearly every category.